Let's revive another vintage polish from this 1948 Peggy Sage gift set. In January, we revived and swatched Naturel, and today we're working on Heartbreak Pink. I intended to have this done by Valentine's Day, but I just didn't want to remove my Urban Decay gangrene manicure until I had to. I can see on the metal brush wand there's possibly some oxidation we will need to address, or it could just be elements of the polish crystallizing on it. When a metal wand is exposed to air rather than solvent, it can start to rust. Though whatever it is, it shouldn't be a big deal. My heart does drop though every time a brush wand gasket sticks to the rim rather than the cap. These old rubber gaskets always harden with age, and more often than not, they will break apart when you try to release them. This time I got really lucky by very gently pulling upward. Fortunately, today is not the day I have to dig through an assorted bag of gaskets. To reattach it to the cap, I'll just twist the cap back down and the pressure should reunite them. Cleaning the glass rim and keeping it clean will prevent that from happening again. Before I take a better look at the brush, I'm going to start rehydrating the polish with Seche Restore Thinner. This kit was never used, so it's safe to say that this will be a full bottle of polish in the end. I won't fill it up completely just yet. I like to leave a little room for mixing. And as for the brush, I don't think we're dealing with any rust, but I'm just gently scraping the chunks off the wand so we don't have gritty bits in the polish. That should do. I was just going to leave this to sit overnight, but I've decided to give it a little stir so the thinner can better penetrate the polish. It's like poking holes in a potato before microwaving it. I'm not worried about stirring up the stubborn white pigment on the bottom yet. That's a struggle for future me, and I have some trash TV to watch this evening. Do you have a show you're low-key embarrassed about watching? There's a few reality shows that get me. Maybe it's just schadenfreude, but I like things that make me cringe. Now we're going to close the cap on this and let it sit overnight. We're back, and surprise, surprise, it's been 3 days. Out of the gate, we're just going to hit it with the vortex to see if we can get some of the white pigment to come up. And of course, I learned rather quickly that it's pretty stuck on the bottom. The shiny finish of polish was superior back then, and it might be blasphemy for me to say this, but modern polish is better in the way that you can just grab it and use it. So with that said, the stir stick is back and I'm just going to swirl it around until I can let the vortex take over again. I'm interested to see how the color will change as it's mixed in. But I can tell you now, this part of the process is a pain in the ass and I'll be cursing Peggy out the whole time. I wonder if anyone makes a tiny paint mixer. I don't want to use something too powerful that I could break the glass, but something like a drywall mixer, but teeny tiny, and no more powerful than an electric toothbrush. There has to be something out there, right? I have nearly half an hour of vortex footage that I'm speeding up, but don't worry, I took plenty of breaks. And at this point, I decided to give it its last dose of thinner. Whenever I use the vortex with antique bottles, I try to avoid gripping the label so that it doesn't get damaged. I also wash my hands beforehand so my skin oils are under control. Anyone who tells me to wear gloves can go pound sand. At this point it looks more mixed because I got tired of standing there and decided to do other stuff while handshaking the bottle. I'm sorry, but I got bored. And if you watched the whole process, you'd probably be bored too. I also just don't have enough dialogue in me. I'm gonna go ahead and shake the rest of this out the best I can, and then we'll swatch it. I just played back all that audio, and damn do I sound agitated, but I promise I love what I do. We're allowed to feel all of the feelings during this process, but ironically heartbreak isn't one of them, since it's applying beautifully. This should be our final coat, and we're gonna skip the modern top coat since this should be shiny enough alone. The best way I'd describe this tone of pink would be amaranth, which looks like this. It's a deep warm pink with just a touch of fuchsia to it. This is the final look, and Peggy really made me work for it. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on this color in the comments section, and follow along for more revivals like this in the future. I'm open to your suggestions on what decade we should work with next.